Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. And today, we're being joined by Nancy Guberti, author of Healthy Living Every Day, Total Wellness for Mind and Body, which is something we really need these days. Nancy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Paul.
Well, we are thrilled to have you. Are you ready to begin?
I'm ready.
All right. Question number one. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
So I would say get started and stay that way. So be consistent and set a goal. Like, will you write 500 words a day? Will you write 5,000 words a week? Just set a number that you could quantify. And then at the end of the week, you could see if you succeeded at that goal. And if you did, check it off. And then the following week, set your next goal. Because this is what I see that happens with health as well as writing a book. So we all want to do it and we may get started and then we are not consistent. So consistency is the key.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
Well, I think you need a mentor or some type of coach when you are getting published because there's so many options nowadays. And you can publish with a publisher, and then you can do it yourself, like if you're going to do, like, I guess, KDP. And then there's the whole technical aspect, and it could be overwhelming, especially for a first-time author. So I think the best thing is, or the hardest part is knowing which way to go. So that's where a mentor or a coach could really help with that. That's part of it.
And which path did you go down for your book?
So I spoke with some publishers actually in New York City because I'm in New York. And then when I looked at the contract, I lost a lot of my rights. And even if I wanted to put the book on Audible, so I decided to self-publish. And my son, Mark, helped me do that because he had self-published like 20 books or by that time. If I didn't have him, I would have reached out for help because I think it is overwhelming.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a guide and someone that's gone through that. And with your son doing 20 books, definitely was a great source to help with that journey.
Yes, being related kind of helped.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well.
Okay, so marketing strategy is crucial here too. And if you don't know anything about marketing, I would highly recommend that you get a mentor or a coach. And it could possibly be the person who helped you publish the book. So I have two sons, and luckily one does digital marketing and the other one helps with the books. And what I did was whenever I was on a radio show or a speaking engagement, I would mention an upcoming book. That was my book coming out, as if it was a movie preview. And then in my private Facebook group, I would mention it. And in my email, I would mention it. And when I had the image of the book cover, I would include it. I didn't do any pre-sales, but I wanted to, get the excitement around it in a non-sales way. And then what really helped is my son ran a Pinterest ad for it, and it was a quick little video gif of me opening and closing the book, and that helped as well. So all of these work together.
So essentially all these themes is about soft selling your book, utilizing these different things here and there, just going, hey, got my book, here's the image. And then also what I found interesting too was the Pinterest ad. So how did that process work?
So, I have these weekly masterminds with my son. Before I'm a functional medicine practitioner now, but before that, I used to work at Goldman Sachs, and I was the head of e-commerce there. I left to help heal my youngest son because he was sick, and that got me on the road to becoming a functional medicine practitioner. So I run this household as if it's kind of corporate, and we
Nice.
have these, yeah, we have these weekly masterminds since they've been 9, and now they're 22 and 23. And they tell me what they're doing for their clients, what ads and this and that. And one of my sons really into YouTube. Like, he wrote that book, YouTube Decoded, and that's how he promotes his services and content marketing and all that stuff. And he was like, "Oh, you should use YouTube." And I was like, I like these little videos." So my son was like, "Oh, I hear that's really popular on Pinterest." So I do anything from 10 seconds to a minute, and those videos were just blowing up. And I was like, I went from maybe 1,000 viewers to 21,000 viewers with these little videos. And then I was like, hey, why don't I do one opening and closing my book so they could see an inside, and it's almost like a tease. And then he said, hey, do you want to run an ad? And so he put an ad together, and it was like $1 a day, something so minuscule. But yet you get in front of so many people.
Yeah, and those are great strategies. And the thing is, I don't think people realize the power of video and just those little video clips. I mean, people want things that are going to be basically short attention span theater, right? So it's going to be short within a minute, 2 minutes, and then they connect to that content. And the great thing is, they're not that difficult to do. So it's simple video, putting it out there, and just utilizing that outreach.
Exactly. I love it. And some people are afraid of video, but you don't even have to, if you don't want the camera to be on you, you could find creative ways for it not to be on you. So you could be it on the book. I don't mind either way.
Well, speaking of books, I'd like to know what is your favorite book and what was the number one thing that you learned from it.
I like Brian Tracy's book, No Excuses, is the power of self-discipline, because I believe that self-discipline is the key to success in all areas of your life. And it helps you achieve self-actualization, as well as setting goals and achieving them. So having clear focus and goals. And that's what I really loved about this book. I think people say, "Oh, I'll write a book tomorrow and next year," or I'll learn how to do this next time," or "I'll start eating healthy tomorrow." But that's really not good, because you're putting off your future. You're putting off everything, right? And it trickles down into finances, relationships. So if you are self-disciplined, you could set those clear, concise goals. And again, you have some target to go after. So I found that book to be very powerful.
And for our final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
So I love "No One Can Make You Feel Inferior Without Your Consent" by Eleanor Roosevelt. And the reason I like that is so many people are so concerned with what other people think of them, or they go on social media and or they may not put their book up on social media, or they may not share their message because they're afraid that someone will either make fun of it or not like it. And then they hide their message and their purpose. But if you live your life respectfully and you try to do good for the people that are you come in contact with, and you empower and inspire people both personally and professionally, you may not always be able to please everyone. So again, no one can make you feel inferior without you giving them your consent. And that's why I like that quote.
Yeah, that is an excellent quote, and I think that's one of the best life lessons people can learn. Only person that matters is yourself, and that's it.
Exactly. And you have to love yourself first before you could love others and help others as well. And I think that's what we need a little bit more of. And then also, if you love yourself, you're going to treat your body in a healthy manner. And if you're healthy, you'll be happy, and you'll be able to do your life's passions and purpose.
Absolutely. Well, Nancy, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
Well, just my name, nancyguberti.com, and that's NancyGuberti.com. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and LinkedIn.
Well, Nancy, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thank you. You as well.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.